Good morning and welcome to the fifth quarter Northern Arizona style. My name is Danny Neal. I am your co-host today, and hopefully we got a good show for today. And I hope everybody's safe and sound out there with all that snow. But without further ado, I got to bring on my guy, my co-host, the man known Northern Arizona simply as the coach. My guy, Mr. Tyrone Johnson. Good morning, Coach. How you doing this morning, man?
Morning, Coach. How you doing? I'm doing well.
Oh man, your head is shining this morning. It's all clean and everything.
That's
Oh
because
man,
of
you
the
looking
angle of the
good.
light, man. The light is
No,
up in front.
well, looking good. You looking good this morning, man. Looking dapper and everything. So, yeah, man. How's the weather treating you this morning?
Well, got up doing some shoveling and getting that exercise in, so that's always fun. And uh,
Wait. Time out. What kind of exercise, coach?
shoveling, you gotta scoop lift. That's exercise. That's like lifting. That's cardio. That's everything.
That's full body exercise, there, man.
That is
It's what like
some people ain't got a luxury snowblower that's electric and do all that type of stuff. Some people got to do manual labor.
some people ain't 68 years old and tired of shoveling all that snow either. And had no choice to go get a snow blower if you wanted to keep living. So, excuse
Uh,
me, but yeah, man, I love to shovel the snow, and man, it just comes a time when it's too much for you. So actually, this that big snow the other day, that little blow I had when he was taking, man, I had to get out there and do manual labor like you, man. Mine is good for a foot or less. We had like 17, 18 inches. No, can't even say. It said, I was scared. Seriously, man. But hey, man, it's snowing like it used to snow back in the day, and it was kind of funny when they called school. We was at basketball practice at 4 o'clock yesterday. They called school, and I'm like, yeah, but I guess there's a reason why these people know what they're doing.
right. And when you was at work yesterday, I knew they was gonna call school. Once you said it, you looked at your weather app and it wasn't gonna snow that much. I knew school was gonna be called at that point in time. So you did this to everybody.
So now I got to go get a whole new weather app.
You do, you do.
Yeah, well, because we moving right along here, but it's one thing I want to bring up to the public that I laughed at you about, man.
Okay.
Come to find out it was true. One day I was walking on the snow. I almost fell. And what did you tell me? How am I supposed to walk?
Man, when it's snowing, and I want everybody out here that's listening to this and everybody that's walking in the snow, I want you to take this seriously. When you walking on the snow, you got to walk like a penguin. That's the safest way to walk on the snow.
And what is your reason why you walk like a penguin?
At the time, man, I told you, have you ever seen a penguin fall on the ice? And you could and you thought about it and you hadn't really seen a penguin fall on ice. So
I had, man. And then not more than I just talked about how crazy you was. Then about 2 weeks later, I'm on watching TV, and the man say, "When you're out walking on the ice, walk like a penguin." I say, "I'll be doggone. This man is right again."
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
Well,
but we got tomorrow. We got some makeup games. We ain't played really and since last week and only practiced yesterday. But we got a big game tomorrow, and that'll lead us into our guests too.
you got that right, man. We got it tomorrow. If you have nothing to do and you want to see a bunch of basketball, come to Flag High School. Starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow. We got the freshman girls first, then the freshman boys, then the JV girls, then the JV boys, then the varsity girls, and the varsity boys, man. And so we're talking about 6 games back to back to back, all Flagstaff athletes playing basketball. And like you said, that leads into the segue of our next guest, because I believe it will be at this game that they will have the 1973 Coconino High School state basketball team in attendance. So, hey man, it's just gonna be a fun time, a lot of basketball. And how you feeling about it?
Oh man, I'm feeling good just in terms of it's always fun to go against the rivalry. We've had Coach Schrader on here before. I didn't get to do that program, but we've had our own, and it's just fun. We've had boys coach. We had Coach Cooper on as well, and so it's just good to play the season and then come to this point in the season. And there's a lot at stake. There's a lot on line. I think in conference on the girls' side, we're one, they're two. As far as our actual conference standing, and then when it comes to the state rankings, I think we're 4 and they're like 14, and so we're all jockeying for position and trying to make sure that we position ourselves the best we can when we go into the state playoffs, which will start February 7th.
Right. And we ain't gonna leave it at the lower levels because also there's when you're looking at the varsity, y'all competing number one, number two. On the JV level, both JV teams come in undefeated.
Yep.
Uh, the freshman teams, you got the flag half freshman undefeated. Coach News only lost 1, 2 games. So, hey man, it's gonna be some quality basketball. And also over at Sanawa, the youth basketball league that you run is also playing games from like 9 to 3. So we got kids from second grade all the way up through high school, man, playing basketball tomorrow. So, you know, come to the games, come to Flag High, get into the concession stand, get you a hot dog, some popcorn, get you a pop, wash it down, and man, just enjoy some good basketball.
It's gonna be all day thing, like you was doing a tournament, but you're gonna see some different levels. And I mean, we got some talent in the town at all the levels, and so
Yes, we
it'll be
do.
fun. And when you had a crosstown rivalry game, you throw everything out before because everybody's coming to play and compete. And so, we'll definitely look forward to it. And again, to give us a gauge to see where we're at and what we need to do to finish the season strong.
Right, and that's good stuff. And the thing we want to stress too is come out and support Flagstaff kids. We know
Yep.
we got Flagstaff fans, Flag High fans, some Coconino fans, and all that, but this is a great time to just celebrate
Yep.
all of them, because they all of them work just as hard, put in the time, do everything. I know how the kids feel about Coach Schrader and Coach Elliott over there, and I know how the coach feel about you. And we're having fun and playing Hassel, man. It's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna be.
absolutely. Come on out and check it out. And so then with that, you mentioned the 1973 state championship team for the boys from Coconino, and so I'm gonna go ahead and let you bring our guests on and let's get into this.
All right. Yeah. Now, I think the reason Coach Johnson wants me to bring our guest on is because he wasn't born in 1973, so he don't know much about it.
I was born that summer. I was born later after it happened. I was born that
Okay.
summer.
Well, you should know something about this, man. You're a basketball aficionado or whatever that word is. But anyway, I would guess right now, man, I know he doesn't think I remember him, but I do remember Mike just from being at the rec center and hanging out with the community guys. So let's hurry up and bring on our guy, Mr. Mike Pavon. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, man?
Really well. How are you guys doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mike. I do remember you. Uh,
No kidding. That's great.
I do, and like I said, I was at the rec center right there next door to Coconino High School. And just looking at a list of the guys on the team, like the Senators, we were close, we were tight with them, still very tight with them. Steve Okie, his dad, Steve Okie Sr., coached me. So, there's a lot of connections. But man, I just want you to talk about that 1973 season and the ride that you guys went on.
You know, it was really interesting because the year before they had faced Safford in the semifinals and they led the entire game. And then in the last 2 minutes, Safford comes back and beats them. Now, in 72, they had a tremendous team, and all these guys that were on the 73 team as seniors, of course, were juniors. But Willard Sinjini was on that team in
Right.
72. And Ray Sinjini, after they lost, told himself, this is never going to happen again. And so when they came in 73, he was so determined to win a state championship. They went on kind of a roller coaster ride because James Bryant, their center, got injured in the free game. He was out for 4 games. Uh, Freddie Beetso, who was their sixth man,
Mm-hmm.
ankle injury and was out quite a bit of the season. And then Racing got the flu. It was called the London flu at the time, and he played through it, but his scoring dropped in half. So he just wasn't the same player. And during that stretch, they lost 3 of the 5 games total that they lost that season. So They went through a lot of adversity. And the great thing about it was they won 11 of their last 12 games. And the only game they lost, the only home game they lost that season was against the Mingus Marauders. And it's because a guy named Randy Wathagama put up 28 points. Steve Oakey, 50 years later, said everything that guy put up went in. And so, and Mingus was the Class A state runner-up that year anyway. So they were not a fluke. They were a great team, and it wasn't because it was a letdown playing a Class A team at home. They were good. So 11 out of 12 is not bad, though.
No, not bad at all. And Mike, for some of us, we're unfamiliar with you, and so give us a little bit about yourself and how you were affiliated with that 1973 team and what you did.
Well, what happened was I was the editor of the Coconino newspaper, and I got to know the sports editor at the Daily Sun, and his name was Joel Hobbs. Dave Wimbish came in later. But I started writing the stories for all the prep school teams, wrestling, basketball, baseball, football, and I would travel on the bus with the teams, and we were all friends anyway. And then Jack Penland, who was a student at Flag High, ended up covering the Flag High teams. And it's funny because Russell, who turned me on to you guys in your program, that's his uncle.
Right.
There was like a rivalry there between the two of us, Coconino Flag High. So, and the way this story got written, I was at the Coconino High reunion last summer. It was our 49th, but that's another story. So what happened was Ray St. John, he comes up, he starts talking about this event they're going to have at Coconino on February 1st at halftime for the Flag High Coconino basketball game. And I said, I should write a story about that. And so I wrote a story, and I was thinking, maybe we could get this in the Daily Sun. So I called up Chris Etling, the editor-in-chief, and he didn't promise me anything. But he eventually said he was going to run it, but he said, I may have to edit it. I said, do whatever you want. Just consider me your researcher. He hardly touched a word. And on the 27th of November, which was the Sunday after Thanksgiving, it's on the front page above the fold, if you can believe that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's good stuff. So obviously you did a good job of writing that keep stuff.
Well, I'm a good researcher. I don't know about writer, but everybody else can decide that.
Right. So you were Russell Woods before his time. So Russell was taking after you. Now, and let me correct something. I said I was at the rec center working. That is wrong. I graduated from high school in 1972, so I knew all these guys just from the 73 team. We played them because even though they were in a different division, we played them every year. And so,
did you graduate from Flag High?
Yes, I graduated from Flag High in 1972.
So you knew Joyce and Irving and all those guys.
Oh yeah, and see those guys graduated in. James graduated in 1975. Joe was like in 76. I graduated with the older brother Robert Joyce.
Right. They had some phenomenal basketball teams at Flag High, and that's why the big shocker to me of that whole season was that we beat Flag High twice. That never happens. If you're lucky and you're Coconino and you play Flag, you get a split. But to beat them twice in 1 year, I remember Jack Penland wrote about it, that it just showed what a powerful team Coconino was. They weren't big. They weren't as big as Flag High, but they were fast. And they liked to trap in the backcourt, create turnovers. They were a real fast break team. And even though their big men were 6'5", 6'4", 6'1", they really knew how to box out and rebound.
Right. And that was Connor's first year at Flag High, right after Fred Anderson hit the
time. Right. Yeah. But
so then Connors. Huh?
Sorry?
No, I say Connors went on to coach Mike Bibby.
Right.
That Flag High went on to coach Mike Bibby. So,
yeah.
but Yes, that was a powerful team Coach Nino had that year, and there's a few of those guys went on to play, went to the next level of play.
No, you're right. In fact, Willard St. John, he told me a story when he played for the Wichita State Shockers. Uh, he went over to Pauley Pavilion. They played UCLA, and Coach John Wooden, right? He goes up to him and he goes, "What island are you from, son?" And Willard says, "You're standing on it, Coach." He
That's
thought,
all right.
yeah, yeah. So
So
it's
that's a classic story. I'm about to, when I see Willard again, I'm about to ask him about that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so, and Stan Townsend was the coach at that time, a legendary coach in Flagstaff. Um, what was it like just being around him and the atmosphere, the culture he created?
Well, I got to tell you, I loved Stan Townsend. I not only admired him and respected him, and everybody did, but he was such a dynamic person and a great athlete himself.
Oh yes,
He played basketball at NAU. Uh, he was in gymnastics. He was just a tremendous athlete, but everybody respected him. I have to tell you, I interviewed all the players. I'm writing a book with this story in it. It's a 16,000 word story. I'll get you guys a book if you like.
yes,
It'll be
yes. I love it.
it's just the history of that season, and it's got pictures, and I had to research it. It took me 3 months going through newspapers.com. I read every single story that had Flagstaff High and Coconino High basketball in it for 3 months back from 72 to 73. And Townsend was a guy who didn't say a lot, but what he said, you better listen to it. He expected, according to the players, he said he expected 120% whether you were in the game or on the bench. It didn't matter to him.
Right.
So he was a great coach. And he also said, uh, little story, his son told me that years later, his brother, his other son, had also won a state championship in football at Flag High,
Mhm.
and Stan asked his son, "Well, what'd that mean to you?" And he goes, "Well, it's all right. I mean, we did it." And he said, "You're saying that now, but I can tell you, 20 years from now, you're going to feel totally different about it because that was the
Right.
only championship Stan Townsend ever won, and that's the only state championship in basketball Coconino ever won. So
Wow.
yeah, they never won another."
Wow. And they've had some great teams. Um, now I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you. Coconino's student body is legendary. Nobody can take a gym like Coconino High School student body. And yeah, they can really get on. I mean, respectfully, but they can really get on the players, the coach. Like that in '72 because it's. I mean, in '73 because it's definitely like that now.
Oh, it was incredible. In fact, I wrote that in the story. Coconino Gym back in '73 held 1,000 people, and most of the games were standing room only. And when Flag High played Coconino, you couldn't even get into the gym. It was that
Right.
packed. So yeah, it was crazy. And Steve Oakey told me it was kind of funny. He said, whenever Ray and Willard played, the entire reservation showed up. So it was great. But yeah, it was that rivalry's always been that way. And you know what's funny, to show you how rare state championships are? In 1989, Coconino went 31-1. That is the most. That's the second most regular season wins by a varsity basketball men's team in the state. They still didn't win the state championship.
Wow. Yes. Yes. That and that's when they had James Williams and Edison Bahi and that group of guys.
You know your stuff.
So yeah, so I mean, it's just been great out here, and we want to keep this going. Interview some more. What other great stories do you have? It looks like my camera's losing energy over here right now, but we want to keep you going. Even if I go blank, then we want to keep you going. So that year, what do you think? was the turning point? Um, that
I honestly
just
think Yeah, I honestly think it was the Coolidge game, the second Coolidge game. Ray had gotten over the flu. Ray Sinjini. They had pulled Ray Smith up a few games before from JV. He ended up second team all tournament at state, just like Steve Oakey. Of course, Ray was the KTAR TV radio prep school player of the year for the entire state. So that's
right,
quite an acknowledgement. But the Coolidge game, and when they played at Coconino, uh, the Bears probably wish they hadn't shown up. They just got massacred. It was like a 35 or 40 point win for
mm-hmm.
Coconino. Ray, I think he scored 33 points. It was nuts. But it just said, we're back. And that was part of the start of that 12-game run. The best game of the year, though, was in the semifinals at state against Flowing Wells. They went in
Mm-hmm.
at halftime. Coconino went in at halftime 20 points down, 20 points at the half.
Really?
So Townsend and Blair, Bob Blair, the assistant coach, he was also the JV basketball coach. He comes back into the locker room, and Townsend says, "You seniors, this is your last chance. You better get together and figure it out." And that's all he said, and he walked out. He was a big one on. He was a big one on telling people, "Look, you can't do it for them. They got to figure this out by themselves." When he
Right.
left the locker room, Blair let loose on him with every colorful expletive you can think of. But he was the kind of guy that when he swore at you, you felt love.
yeah,
I don't know how
I
he.
understand that.
Yeah,
I
he just.
understand that.
Yeah, he loved his players. They loved him. Townsend was more the disciplinarian. Blair was like their favorite uncle. So
Right.
so they went out and they closed the gap in the third quarter. Kevin
Uh-huh.
Wilson guard. Wilson got going with a lot of assists, and they came back. And the funny thing is, in that game, the Flowing Wells Caballeros,
Mm-hmm.
James Bryant, Coconino's centers, his first cousin, Lance Bryant, was playing for the Caballeros that night.
Really?
Yeah. And
Small world.
one time when he's on the foul line, uh, James Bryant walks by him and says, "Lance, you're going to miss." And he did.
That could be a civil war right there.
Oh, exactly.
But that's all right. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you being on, and this celebration is February 1st. It is not tomorrow, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, at
Okay.
halftime, tip-offs at 7. They're going to do a banner raising and a plaque presentation to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the championship in the Coconino Gym. That'll take
Okay.
place around 8 o'clock, 7:45, something like that on February 1st.
Well, that's good stuff. And how many ex-players do you anticipate coming back?
I think we'll have them all except one. Ruben Romero's probably not going to make it, but we've got people coming from the East Coast. Blake Heap,
Oh,
who's
cool.
yeah, he's a thoroughbred trainer. Ray Smith's driving over from Kingman. A lot of the guys are coming up from Phoenix. Of course, Ray Sinjini's coming down from Tuba City.
Right.
And the players that have passed away, Gary Lively, his family will be there, Tanya and her husband. Coach Bob Blair can't come, but his daughter Debbie will be there. Dennis Wilcox, team manager, his wife Vicky will be there. So a lot of people.
Well, that'll be good, Coach. It sounds like it's a fun day, and so we'll just keep moving along, and we appreciate you. If you have anything else that you want to add, please hit us up. We'd love to have you back, man. There's so much we can talk about this team. Um, Coach Johnson, yeah, he's young. He doesn't remember, but yeah,
Thank
we
you,
can
guys.
definitely talk.
Enjoy your show. Very nice. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, man. And you're doing a great job. And just appreciate you for keeping all of this live and real.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, you enjoy yourself. Thank you very much. Well, hey, well, we've had a nice guest today. My co-host Tyrone Johnson had to leave. You know, some people have to work today. Since I'm retired, I get to hang out, chill for a little while. But it's been a great show, great information. Like I said, that Coconino High School basketball team in 1973 was a really, really good basketball team, and just high character players. They weren't just good basketball players; they were good players. They were good people. I still keep up with Ray and Willie today, and we'll, we'll probably see them this weekend. Knowing them, they hear basketball bouncing and they show up. So I just want to thank Mike for showing up, being a part of this show, and you know, want to make sure that if you like what we're doing, if you like the show, please hit thumbs up. Please subscribe. Just let us know how you feel about the show and any other topics that anybody would like for us to cover sports wise, please hit us up and let us know. Other than that, like I said, plenty of basketball at Flag High School starting at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And just enjoy your day. Be safe out there. And you ain't got to go home, but you got to leave here. Peace.